The shots that ended Warick Stock's life didn't end a chapter. It opened one. It was a Tuesday morning in Rosebank. The early hours of a quiet Tuesday morning. Sorrow arrived before the rest of the city. It was a gathering of family, of friends, of people he worked with, of people whose ears had been tuned to his voice on radios and on screens. Now they were all together because of something that would bind them all forever. The corner of Badhurst Crescent was where a piece of Johannesburg was counting on Warras. He protected them. He protected them for a reason that was not for personal profit but for thousands of others. He was 40 years old. He was a disc jockey. He was Warras. He was being laid to rest. As the hymns rang out and the tears freely flowed, another process neatly and methodically unfolded. Two suspects, formerly accused of his murder, were poised to make their first court appearance. A nation in mourning. The legal system in action. And between the two realities existed a land questioning if, on this occasion, truth would prevail over the power of silence. This was never how Warick Stock was supposed to die. Not with his blood spreading across a concrete sidewalk. Not in the area of Mzansi House, close to the Carlton Centre. This is representative of both the hopes and despair of Johannesburg. Warick Stock was many things: a broadcaster, podcaster, provocateur, entrepreneur, and father. In all these roles, he lived life fully, said what he wanted, and never compromised his opinions so as not to make others comfortable. He was targeted, according to the authorities. CCTV footage has captured the last seconds, a suspect walking purposefully, raising a gun without qualm, firing once and only once. There had been no robbery. No struggle. His own gun remained in place. His phone had not been touched. His wallet was exactly where it had been. This was not disorder. It was purposeful. But that purpose is now at the very forefront of one of the biggest murder inquiries that has ever been undertaken in the country. During the funeral, the focus was not on the evidence, the suspects, or the scheduled courts. However, the focus was on the man before the violence. Television personality Lethando Lutlove Shosha spoke about a very close friend whose presence was felt without saying a thing. His sister, Nicole Stark, was shown to be standing strong and saying exactly what people already knew. He never belonged to us. He belonged to the country. He belonged to the nation. He belonged to the people. DJ Warras was rare in his ability to make national conversations intimate. He spoke about crime, racism, corruption, power and fear, not as ideas to be thought out abstractly but as experiences to be lived. He didn't seek to be impartial. He doubted it. In a society that equates honesty with provocation, he once said in an interview, it has to be deliberate and challenging. However, there was another side of Warick Stock. It was a side that wasn't so well known, a side which was a whole lot more menacing. He operated in the area of Johannesburg which was a battle zone in itself. Here, the ownership of realty remains a question mark. The buildings are contested. The gangs are in effect where the government is weak. It was in this area of Johannesburg that the Imperium Ops firm of Warick Stock operated. The Imperium Ops firm provided security services in buildings. It did so in the Mzansi House in the Johannesburg CBD. It was not a desk-bound job. It was an aggressive one. Hijacked buildings are more than mere illegal dens. They are actually thriving underground economies. Transactions occur. Power is exercised. Access can be and is controlled. Anyone who interferes in the process becomes a potential threat. According to the Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety, Dr. Mzansi Chwaku, Stock had been threatened several times. 5 protection orders had been issued in his name against known individuals. 5 obvious markers of the fact that he had put himself in harm's way. Chwaku has declared that the impression is that a hit may have been called. All of this turns the entire script upside down. This was not an assassination of a prominent citizen, this was legality opposes criminal action, an open mouth opposed to those who want it shut. The reaction of the law enforcement agencies was swift. On Monday, 2 people were being questioned. However, by Tuesday, Gauteng police confirmed their arrest and looming charge of murder. They are set to appear at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court tomorrow. For some, This piece of news brought relief. For others, restraint. Arrests are not justice. Charges are not convicting a person. Many cases associated with organized crime end up collapsing. But it appears that, unlike most cases, an inquiry is taking place. The National Police Commissioner, Fanny Masemola, had promised results. Such promises have started yielding. Footage has been considered. Suspects have been pinned down. Charges have been drawn up. What is in question now is how far this inquiry will actually be pursued. Will it end at the gunman, or will it lead the finger of blame up the line to those that planned and profited? And if it is true that DJ Warras got killed doing his job, then what happened to him is anything but random. A message has been sent, and it only has value if it is allowed to stand. Days before, during a memorial service, his son, Ethan, talked about a father who would always find a way despite all the pressure. This is a father who was tough in public, whose exterior did not represent the gentleness he held inside. This is Warick stock, whose strength in public and gentleness in private defined who he was. His loved ones claim that he was aware of the dangers that he was facing. That truth reveals a harsh reality. In South Africa, the law does not provide protection. Integrity does not provide protection. Visibility, fame, offers no guarantee of protection when those in power feel threatened. At whose funeral the crowd proved this understanding. It was more than an ending. It was an affirmation against allowing this ending to become merely a number. Outside, the city kept moving, taxis honking, phones ringing, deadlines pushing ahead. Inside, there was no hurry. Memories circulated. Tears gave way to laughter. His name was spoken in the same hallowed tones given to people who make their impact merely by breathing. The question now is, it's up to the state to act on these charges and make Warras's family whole, to prove to himself and to everybody else, including other Crimean journalists, that justice is mandatory, not optional. If Warras's case falls apart, the message will be terrible, even with irrefutable evidence, threats, and a whole state behind them. Justice will remain a luxury none can afford. However, if Warras's case passes the test, and law enforcers look into the matter without fear because his life was never quiet, and his death should not be. As his sister so eloquently stated, the voice of his life was not a whisper, it was a roar. And so that roar roars from the morning to the courts, the police stations, and the decision-making chambers where the lives of some are guarded and others relegated to the dustbin. The funeral is finished. The day goes on. And the country waits, not just to determine who delivered the shot, but to see if South Africa has the courage to follow the trail of truth wherever it may lead.